It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on a Football Friday. Wimp Sanderson, Mike Rodak. We'll talk to Kyle Parmalee a little bit later. So if you missed any of our interviews, you can always download the Three Man Front podcast. Download the Jocks 94.5 app. You can listen to the podcasts in their entirety. Thanks for making us a part of your Football Fridays. If you're tired of worrying about your roof, whether it's your family home or commercial building, Abide Roofing delivers tailored solutions for every need. At Abide, it's more than just a new roof. It's about a team of highly game to every job. They work with precision and pride using only the best materials to guarantee durability and lasting value. With over 25 years of experience, this local roofing team, they're ready to serve you today. Call them for a free consultation and estimate, 205-941-6223. That's 205-941-6223. Or simply go to their website, abideroof.com. They were able to put a new roof on my home and deal with my insurance company, and I've been extremely pleased. You will be too with their work. 205-941-6223. That's abideroof.com.
A lot of your text still rolling in on this Football Friday. We look ahead to the weekend games. First on the text line, Jerry in Gardendale says it sounds like Crimson Conrad may have a breakdown if Coach DeBoer starts 2-3. If that happens, maybe Conrad could stage an intervention about the Bama standard. Thank you, Jerry.
I'd be happy to do it. I'd be honored.
Lewis from Homewood says Michigan 24, Nebraska 21. Go blue, and go is spelled like an LSU fan would. For Molly, LOL.
Wrong.
Okay.
I will tell you, I am very interested in Bet It or Forget It because we know Molly loves to take the under, especially in Big Ten games. So I wonder if she's going to stick with her guns or if she's going to take Nebraska outright because that's how confident she feels. Very interested in that one.
Bet It or Forget It coming up at 12:30. Do you guys think that having two permanent rivals might make more sense in the SEC? Seems like it would be easier.
I guess I haven't thought about that, honestly. What if you had less permanent opponents? 3 just seems nice.
We got 9 conference games, so that would be 7. You couldn't rotate it equally enough.
Now that we've gone to 9, yeah, that's right.
Good math.
Got to get to that even number, so 3 minus 9 is 6.
Makes sense.
Y'all say it doesn't matter very much who your 3 yearly games are because you will play the other teams every other year. Saban thought it did 3 years ago. Why didn't y'all tell Saban it doesn't matter when he cried and cried like a little bitty baby? We were out at Barber's Motorsports when that announcement came out. And we debated it and discussed it the entirety of the show. Actually, I think we took I did anyways, I want to see that game. I think a lot of our Alabama fans that called in said they did too. Alabama, LSU.
Yeah, a lot of people during that time frame, they said, "Well, I mean, we're killing Tennessee every year. That's not a rivalry anymore. LSU's a good game. Why do we got to keep playing Tennessee?" And then a funny thing happened. Tennessee has beaten Alabama 2 out of the last 3 years, and looky there, it's a rivalry again.
Keep the text rolling in. We'll get to your phone calls now. 800-239-WJOX. Our friend Miles in Mississippi joining us now. Hey, Miles, how are you?
Hello. I hope everyone's doing well today. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend to you.
Thank you. I haven't been able to listen to the first couple hours. I've been working, sadly. But let me ask y'all this. Any insider knowledge or predictions regarding the fixed opponents that are coming up Tuesday? At least, do you think there will be any changes from the last time when they attempted this about 2 or 3 years ago?
I mean, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be some changes. And just for the record, the SEC never released who those opponents were going to be. It is just based on conjecture and conversations that I've had with other people around the conference. A couple years ago, it seemed like it was going to be Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU for Alabama. Over the last couple of days, even our guest last hour, Mike Rodak, he told us a couple weeks ago that he felt that Mississippi State was a team that possibly could keep your eye on as being that third opponent for Alabama instead of LSU. And over the last 24 hours, since this announcement was going to become inevitable for Tuesday night, I've been given the indication that not so fast on the LSU front. So there's going to be changes. I still firmly believe Auburn is going to get Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. But every other year, you're going to get to play another team in the conference. So the rotation is going to be better suited now. So at least on Tuesday night, some fans are going to start yelling about, well, we're not playing this team or whatever the case may be. But it's going to be short-lived because once the schedule comes out and you're playing somebody every other year, it's not going to matter.
I think variety is a good thing. I do. And, I know, Pat, you were a big fan of divisions.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
I was.
To speak. You can, one thing they could go to if they have to down the road, if they add some more teams in the conference in the next 2 or 3 years, you can always have mini divisions, and that would ensure that you're playing everybody every 5 years, maybe.
Right.
If you don't, twice every, so there are a lot of ways to do it, but I like the variety. I like it a lot.
Well, Miles, we've talked about this before. The most criminal thing that has happened since this conference expanded with Missouri and Texas A&M back in 2012 was the fact that the University of Georgia has never played a game inside Kyle Field. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. Now, Texas A&M has been between the hedges, but Georgia has never played at Texas A&M. I mean, so that's 13 years. They've had an opportunity to try to make that happen, and it didn't happen. But it's funny how Texas comes in the league, and in year one, Georgia visits Austin. I mean, that's just the hypocrisy of the SEC scheduling over the course of the last 13 years. So hopefully all this will be changed, and with the 9 conference games, we'll get to see more of those interesting matchups that we just have not been able to see.
Absolutely. Can I ask you about one more topic? Cody Campbell.
Sure.
The idea of a government entity controlling college football, that bothers me because I want my football viewing experience to be entertainment, not like a typical trip to the DMV. And what are your thoughts on that? I don't like that idea.
It just depends on how it was structured. If it's going to make it better, if it's going to give it organization, if you are going to have oversight, which it does feel like we need right now, and the only way to have that happen is from a federal level, I'm all about it. But I'm also cautious because of more government and especially getting involved in something like this where it seems like that it could go the way that you're describing in your biggest fear.
I like the SCORE Act better than Cody Campbell's idea.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe his idea, maybe the SCORE Act, and there's a couple of other people that offer theirs, and there's a combination and different things that they can derive from those different things to come up with a solution that's best. But you're going to have criticism, whatever they come up with.
I think Cody wants to force Texas into force regional conferences because he wants Texas Tech to be able to milk Texas and A&M.
It's a good theory.
That's because that's his world. Y'all, I'm going to have a great weekend. Thank you for your time.
Miles, thank you, my friend. You as well. Call the show anytime. Let's go back to the phone lines. AJ in Florida. Hey, AJ.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to respond to Bama Hater's comments. He's so passionate about the fact that the dynasty is over. And, my point would be, of course it's over. I mean, I don't think there's any realistic Bama fan that doesn't admit that. I mean, it's the Saban era is done. But if you look at it, that's not some kind of gotcha moment. I mean, all dynasties come to an end. I always said this is going to end. And I would say in this new world of the NIL and transfer portal, there will never be another, quote, unquote, dynasty. So one day, Bama Hater may have some grandkids, and they may say, Granddaddy, who was the best dynasty you ever saw in all your college football watching years? And if he's going to be honest to his grandkids, he's going to have to say, well, that would be Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide. And then they might say, hey, Granddaddy, didn't you hate those guys? And he's going to say, I sure did. And then they're going to say, why did you hate them? And they're going to say, well, I lived in Birmingham, and everything I heard was all about the Crimson Tide every day, and I just couldn't stand it because in my town, Miami, they don't even care about the team at all, and they can't even paint their own end zones distinguishable from the pro team that plays there. So that's what he'll have to say.
AJ, he could tell his grandkids that he
that.
led the Crusades against the evil dynasty that was Alabama.
Oh, sure. I mean, but he's going to have a good year. I mean, Bama Hater's been how long has he been calling these shows? 15 years, I don't know, a long time, but this is going to be his year. He's waited a while for it. So
he has.
Congratulations to him.
AJ, thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for calling and listening on the Jocks app. I was going to offer to AJ that sometimes it feels like Conrad is still hanging on to that dynasty.
He didn't wear an Alabama jersey today.
No, he's not.
Well, it's not game day. I'm wearing my Auburn colors today. It's not. I don't know if it's the right shade,
Yeah,
but it's orange.
is it?
Yeah, this is orange.
Kind of looks like red from here.
It's orange.
Okay. Take your word for it.
If anyone would know orange, it's me.
Yes, that is right. More texts that have come in on the text line. Someone texted in a debate with my friend. I'd like to have y'all's opinion. Do you think crabs look up at fish and think they're flying? I'd like to think that they do.
That's a really good question. I'm not going to ask what you're under the influence of to make you think of that question, but yeah, no, maybe they do.
Jason asks, do you really think vegetarians eat animal crackers?
I hope so. I love animal crackers.
They close their eyes when they eat them.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Pat, Bama is 2-2 over the last 4 years. But that doesn't fit your narrative of losing 2 of the last. No idea.
Oh, saying instead of being 1-2, you're 2. Yeah.
Okay.
The reality of it is you lost to Alabama or Tennessee 2 the last 3 years.
A lot of
that's
reaction to Bama Hater. You guys love hearing his phone calls. We appreciate it. Good stuff. Robert adds he likes Michigan over Nebraska. 20-17. Matt Rule's boring conservative offense plays into Michigan's hands. Rule is overrated. Yeah, can't read that one. Entertaining, though. We have not gotten our daily Ryan Williams text from our listener over in Georgia. 205-834-9450. I'm sure there's plenty of those coming next week.
This month, only at Courtesy GMC, it's the kickoff sales event, and they're bringing the lowest prices in the Southeast on a brand new GMC. Get up to $15,000 off on an all-new 2025 Sierra 1500, or go bigger with the Sierra 2500 HD, up to $12,000 off. And it's not just the trucks. Drive off in a brand new Acadia, up to $5,000 off in savings. All 2025 in-stock Yukons and Yukon XLs are also $5,000 off. That means Courtesy has the all-new 2025 Yukon and the Super Cruise, which features hands-free driving starting at $69,995. Plus, GMC comes with powertrain warranty. They're at Courtesy GMC. Get by exit 32 I-459, exit 32 I-459 in Trussville, or visit their online inventory at Courtesy Birmingham.
We'll continue. The football discussion rolls on here on this Friday. The big matchups out of the SEC across college football that could affect the playoff race. Maybe infect the playoff race. And also coming up at 12:30, bet it or forget it. You don't want to miss that. The Friday rolls on right here on Jocks.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will do Bet It or Forget It. As we'll see if Landrum continues hitting. He went 4-1 last week against the spread. Let's get your pen and paper ready. Coming up, grow between Landrum, Conrad, and Molly. Got some interesting games that we will get into a little bit later in the program. Bruce Feldman from The Athletic, he's got a piece out in which he is naming some guys that he believes are going to be in the conversation to take over as the UCLA head football coach. Those include USC defensive coordinator Deontin Lynn, who was the DC at UCLA a couple years ago, Baylor head coach Dave Aranda, who is a Southern California resident, or a native, I should say. He is mentioned as a possible replacement by Bruce Feldman. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake, Oregon DC Tosh Lapoy, Florida State DC Tony White, Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. This is an interesting name, and they obviously saw his work most recently, and that is New Mexico head coach Jason Eck. How could you forget the 35-10 win they had just last week that basically sealed the fate of Deshaun Foster? He's a 48-year-old former Wisconsin offensive lineman who has done a really nice job early on there at New Mexico, but he came from the FCS school, Idaho.
I probably forgot because New Mexico changes head coaches every season. Wasn't it Bronco Mendenhall? Then before that, you had Danny Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm. In this article by Bruce Feldman, this is another interesting aspect to all of this. He is talking about Dante Moore, who is the quarterback now for the Oregon Ducks, who was at UCLA. That in this article, he says that Dante Moore did not end up getting half of the amount of the NIL money that UCLA promised him. Brandon Grier, who is Moore's agent, declined to comment for the story, but multiple sources told Bruce Feldman that Moore did not get half of what UCLA told him that he was going to get paid. Feldman also puts in his article back in 2023 when UCLA beat arch rival USC 38-20 in the Coliseum, a Bruins source said the team had just $400,000 on the field that day to beat USC, while the Trojans players were getting 30 times that amount of what UCLA was paying for NIL during that infamous game in 2023 in which they won. The defensive coordinator for that game for UCLA, he wasn't making much money for the Bruins, and so guess what happened? USC saw his work, offered him a contract, and now he is making more than $2 million at USC, and he has a $500,000 housing stipend.
Well, that'll get you a nice shack in Southern California.
Was not getting any of that.
Pay for half of the apartment.
As the DC
Correct.
of UCLA. Rick Neuheisel, the former head coach of UCLA, he was quoted in this article. He says they're unwilling to finance their own expectations, and it's been that way for some time. They've been up against it financially, and I don't know why. I don't understand why they don't see football as a breadwinner. UCLA is expected to use more than $13 million of revenue to use on their football program starting this year, which is very similar to what the SEC and other Big Ten schools have allocated. But Neuheisel told Feldman that he isn't convinced the Bruins necessarily will be on a level playing field because other programs will help facilitate third-party deals that offer more money for the players.
The problem, if you're Martin Jarman, the UCLA athletic director, is stories like this where it seems like that you're not financially healthy. Another thing is the other school, the University of Spoiled Children, as UCLA parents would like to call them, USC, just across the way, and all that they have at their disposal. But also, you got to play in the Pac-10. But they were paying Deshaun Foster $3 million a year. Before that, they were paying Chip Kelly, their head coach. Chip Kelly, a proven head coach, $6 million a year. So unless you want to pony up and you want to get in a serious conversation with a proven head football coach, you're going to have to continue, and it's a dice roll anyways, but you're going to have to continue to roll the dice and try to find that next up-and-comer or a guy who once had a lot of success that just decided, you know what? I'd like to get back in it. Let's go to California.
Yeah, and I mean that job's not very attractive, to say the
It
least.
feels like it's dead in the water right now.
Oh, absolutely. I would much rather. Okay, your opinion, because I would rather have the Virginia Tech job right now than UCLA.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because that's not very appealing to get on a plane
No.
and fly all the way across the country to play a game. Now, granted, Virginia Tech and the ACC, you still might have to go to Stanford or Cal, but my goodness, if you're a West Coast school in the Big Ten, that's tough, very tough, especially from the football side of things. Yesterday afternoon, Dodger pitcher Clayton Kershaw announced his retirement. 37 years old, he's a certain Hall of Famer. Just incredible numbers. He won the 2014 National League MVP award. The MVP award. I'm not talking about the Cy Young award. I'm talking about the overall MVP award for the National League. He's won 2 World Series, 3 Cy Youngs. He won the Roberto Clemente Award, which is very prestigious. And he has a career 2.54 ERA. That is incredible. Over 200 wins and 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, I'd be interested in y'all's perspective because, y'all are a little bit older, and I got to see, I still remember getting to see Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson and Pedro and some of those guys when they were at the top of their game when I was really, really young. But in terms of, I guess, my more adult life, Clayton Kershaw, without a doubt, the best pitcher that I've seen in Major League Baseball as an adult. I mean, he is one of the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. But I know y'all have seen more guys, so y'all might have a different opinion. But for me, in the last 15 years, no one's been better.
He's right up there for me too. Well, I say he's up there for me. What did you say? Just one of the best that you've seen?
Well, I was saying for I guess my generation of players, I'm not counting the Roger Clemens and Randy Johnsons that were around when I was younger, but when you put them up against Verlander or Scherzer or just those guys of the more modern era, I think he's the best out of all of them.
I don't know about the best, but he's right up there. He was so good.
So you just mentioned some names. So as this will be his final year, Clayton Kershaw has made the 4th most money as a pitcher in Major League Baseball history. He's made $314 million as a pitcher.
Pretty good.
Justin Verlander, currently, he has pocketed $409 million as a pitcher.
Scherzer's got to be up there, too.
Scherzer's number 2 with $345 million. Zach Greinke is the 3rd, $328 million in his career. And rounding out the top 5 at number 5, CC Sabathia.
That's my guy.
He won, or not won, but he made $265 million. So your top pitchers, Verlander, Scherzer, Greinke, Kershaw, Sabathia. That's your top 5 in regards to earning a wage as a pitcher in Major League Baseball history. Not a bad group of pitchers, and their accountants are probably got 2 or 3 houses thanks to them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the nastiest curveballs you'll ever see, Clayton Kershaw.
And the fact that Clayton Kershaw has done it on one team, that even makes me like him even more, is just because the fact that he didn't bounce around like Max Scherzer has been with, 5 teams?
Well,
yeah.
Zach Greinke was with 5 teams. Verlander's on his 4th team.
Kershaw was smart, though. He knew that he was on the team that owned the bank.
Well, here's the other. Well, CC was left-handed, but the others on that list are all right-handed.
Yeah.
So lefties are a commodity that
Yep.
very hard to come by.
I was about to say the one good thing about the Dodgers winning the World Series in COVID was that Kershaw got a ring. I can be happy for him for that. Don't like the team, but he deserved one. I know he got 2.
Outstanding career.
Very much so. So we announced yesterday that this is it for him, 37 years old. It's been banged up a little bit last couple of years, but
Fun fact, y'all might know this. I don't know how many of the listeners do, though. Clayton Kershaw in high school played center on his high school football team. Do you know who his quarterback was in high school?
Clayton Kershaw's. Oh, wait. I was thinking about the Max Fried.
It is somebody that currently plays in the NFL.
And where is Kershaw from?
Texas.
Somebody who plays in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Played in the SEC.
Was it Stafford?
Matthew Stafford was his quarterback in high school.
When you said Texas, that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Little detail there.
Yeah, what high school? God.
Eastlake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One of the lake schools.
Yeah.
It's a long hallway with notable former
McElroy
athletes.
went to South Lake, right?
Yeah, he went to South Lake. He was a Dragon. They hated Eastlake. A lot of pranks. It's like Valley and Bayside.
And because I knew that they had gone to the same high school, but I didn't know. Found out that Clayton Kershaw played center in high school. My man, was he big enough to play center? But I guess it's high school, so it's a little different. But yeah, that's a fun fact. Clayton Kershaw was the center for Matthew Stafford in high school. Yeah.
When you win. Our weekly installment of Bet It or Forget It comes your way next.
Last week, Landrum went 4-1. The other two went 3-2. So for the season, Landrum Robertson, the Bet It or Forget It, he leads by one game over Conrad and Molly. He is 14-6 against the spread. Molly and Conrad 13-7. So let's get right to it. This is Bet It or Forget It.
The following is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Three-man fronts. Bet it or forget it.
All right, let's start in the heartland of the United States, Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Cornhuskers will be hosting the Michiganders. Right now, Michigan is a 1.5-point favorite. 46.5 is the point total. Michigan has won the last 4 meetings against the Huskers. 3 of the last 4 meetings have comfortably flown by the point total. This will be Michigan's second game without head coach Sharon Moore. So let's start with the leader in the clubhouse right now. That's Landrum Roberts. Michigan 1.5, point total 46.5.
I don't totally trust Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers, but I don't trust the Michigan Wolverines. I'm going to go total here, and I'm going to go under the total, 46.5. Don't think we see a whole lot of points, so give me the under.
Conrad.
Yeah, well, let me say this. In the office football pool, I'm taking Nebraska to win and cover. However, for the sake of this exercise, I'm also taking the under because I think it's going to be defensively a big opportunity for Nebraska to go up against a true freshman quarterback who's looked a little shaky at times. The Michigan run game hasn't been what we thought it would be, and I think for Nebraska, they're going to do just enough to get the win. I think they will win the game, but I'm going to play it safe. I'm taking the under as well.
Molly.
You know what? I respect both of your opinions, and I do feel like the under is the safe bet, but I'm not playing it safe. Not with my Cornhuskers. I don't care what all the haters say. I'm taking Nebraska. Nebraska's going to win outright, and this is going to be the start of something magical happening in Lincoln. It's about time. Nebraska's due. I am cautiously optimistic, but you know what? 3 words, go Big Red.
Game number 2, the Florida Gators. They travel to South Florida taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Miami is a 7.5-point favorite. The point total is 50.5. Teams have only met 8 times since 1987. Miami has covered the number in each of the last 4 meetings, including last year's 41-17 road win. Keep in mind, Florida's defense held LSU's offense to just 316 yards and 10 first downs last week down in the Bayou. So let's start with Conrad. Florida, a 7.5-point dog on the road. You like Miami or Florida or the point total?
Yeah, this was of all the picks this week, this is the easiest one in my opinion. I'm taking Miami. I think they win pretty big. I think the Florida defense can keep them in the game early, but they've been so bad offensively, the defense is going to wear out. Carson Beck's been playing like a Heisman Trophy contender and maybe a future number 1 overall pick. So yeah, give me the Miami. I think they win big. Give me Miami by at least 2 touchdowns over Florida.
All right, Molly, how about you?
I'm with Conrad on this one. I'm also taking Miami in the points. I mean, they've just been cruising offensively. And I feel so bad because we know Billy Napier's pretty much on the hot seat again. Florida's 1-2. DJ Lagway threw what? Not 1, not 2, but 5 interceptions last week in Death Valley. I think Miami's going to win comfortably here. I'm staying away from the total because I think it might rain in Miami. But I like the Hurricanes to win big.
How about you, Landrum?
Yeah, for different reasons, but I like Miami minus the 7.5. I just worry that Florida has now, you've got guys looking at DJ Lagway and that side of the ball and not trusting him. And when that happens, it filters over into the play on the defensive side. It affects the way they play. All of that being said, I think Miami's the most complete team that they have had down there in quite a while. Give me the Canes.
Tulane, the Green Wave. They travel to Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss is a 12.5-point favorite. The point total is 61.5. Ole Miss has won and covered each of the last 3 meetings against Tulane. Both teams enter the contest 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread. Tulane straight up in their last 43 games. They are 34-9 against the spread. We'll start with Molly. Tulane at Ole Miss.
I don't know if this is like my bold prediction when it comes to bet it or forget it this week, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Tulane in the points. I think that they're going to come in kind of with a chip on their shoulder, and especially after, Lane Kiffin, he said great things about Summerall, but I think Summerall's going to kind of want to prove a point that, I can coach in the SEC. Now, I'm not saying that Tulane is going to beat Ole Miss, but, and especially with Austin Simmons hurt, I do think that, Tulane might go in and maybe scare some people. So I like them to cover.
All right. She likes the Green Wave. How about you, Landrum?
I think Ole Miss, they found something in Trinidad Chambliss. Pete Golding, there's no doubt he challenged the manhood of his defense, especially up front. I think that shows up more tomorrow. Ole Miss is not sleeping on this game. They've got something to prove, and they've got it to prove to their coaching staff. I like Ole Miss at home minus the points.
Lugnut.
Thank you, Pat. This one was actually the trickiest one for me this week because I agree with Molly and a lot of what she said. I do think that Ole Miss has been playing with fire a little bit lately, and I think Tulane's good enough to keep it, even if it's a backdoor cover. Maybe they score a touchdown late to keep it within the 13.5. But I'm just going to go with the over in this one. I think you got two really good offenses. Jake Retzlaff ran for over 100 yards and 4 touchdowns last week against Duke, threw for 250 through the air, and I think Trinidad Chambliss has brought something to that team in Ole Miss. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this one. I think Ole Miss wins, but give me the over.
Let's go to Columbia, Missouri, center of the great state of Missouri, where the South Carolina Gamecocks come calling against the Tigers. The Tigers are a 10.5-point favorite, 48.5, that's the point total. Mizzou, they have won 5 of their last 6 versus South Carolina and covered the number in each of its last 6 games against South Carolina. The Tigers are 7-1 straight up, 8-0 against the spread since last Halloween. Made a lot of money off Mizzou if you took them in the points.
Sure did.
4 games into the career of Mike Shula, the former Alabama head football coach, now the OC of the Gamecocks. They're averaging a mere 14 points per game this season for the Gamecocks. So let's start with Landrum. South Carolina, 10.5-point dog at Mizzou.
Yeah, the last time that they hosted South Carolina, 2023, won that game comfortably. Just something about Missouri playing at home, and I'm buying into Pribula. And even with Lenora Sellers being expected to play, I think this proves even more that they weren't going to win that game versus Vanderbilt regardless. I like Missouri in this one. Missouri minus the 10.5.
Conrad.
I remember after week 1 when we were talking about some of our takeaways, and I said, man, that Bo Pribula guy looks really good for Missouri. And Landrum said, well, they just played Central Arkansas. So I'm glad to know that Landrum's now on the same bandwagon that I am, because I think he has been absolutely fantastic for Missouri so far. South Carolina is not a good football team right now. I don't care if Lenora Sellers plays or not. They weren't going to win that game last week. I agree with that sentiment as well. So, yeah, give me Mizzou minus the 10.5. I think this is the game where people start to look at Missouri as, wow, they could actually be a part of this conversation for the playoff at the end of the year.
This will be a clean sweep because I also like Mizzou. I don't know if you guys remember 2 years ago, and better to forget it, but Mizzou was my betting team. They always won me money, and so I'm sticking with them again, especially with South Carolina right now. I mean, it's just things are rough in the Columbia, South Carolina for them. So I like the Tigers.
All right, it's clean sweep as everyone takes the Missouri Tigers. Final game of the week, Norman, Oklahoma. The Auburn Tigers making their way for the first time ever playing there in Norman. The point total is 48.5. The Sooners, we're going to go 6.5. That's the number that we're going to use for this competition because it's been vacillating between 6.5 and 7, but we're going to go with 6.5. Oklahoma has won all 3 of the prior meetings against the 2 teams. The Sooners are on a 10-3 against the spread run as a favorite, and they're a favorite at home. Auburn is looking to go 4-0 for the first time since 2019. It's been a minute before the pandemic since Auburn has started this well. So let's start with you, Molly. Auburn, 6.5 dog on the road.
You know, this one, I think, Conrad, you were saying the Tulane Ole Miss game is tricky. And yes, that one is tricky. But for me, this one is tricky because I feel like everyone, especially in the national media, they've all picked Oklahoma. I would love to see Auburn at least cover, but I think here I'm actually going to take the over. I don't know, 48.5. I could see this maybe being a little bit of a higher scoring game between Mateer and Jackson Arnold, especially with Arnold in his homecoming. I mean, he's going to want to show out against his old school, but at the same time, I'm staying away from the line because this is a tricky one for me. So I'm going to stick with the over.
All right, how about you, Landrum?
I'm going to take Auburn plus the points. I think this is a close game, and I think Auburn looks good. I do like Oklahoma. I'm giving the Sooners a lean because they're playing at home, but I like Auburn to cover it. I think it probably is a field goal that decides it.
Conrad.
I had a very interesting conversation with somebody whose opinion on Auburn I trust very much earlier this week, and it definitely helped me come to a conclusion on my prediction for this game. I will say if it was 7.5, it was over a touchdown, I might lean Auburn because I do think it's going to be a very close game. but I think they have the better quarterback. They're playing at home, and I think you could argue they have a better defense all around. Maybe Auburn a little better defensively up front, but I think all around Oklahoma has the better defense. That sounds like a good recipe for a one-score victory. So I'm going to take Oklahoma and the points. I think they win by right around a touchdown.
Sitting here looking at the board, and everyone took Miami and everybody took Mizzou. Everything else is kind of –
Yay.
so we might have a liberation after this weekend. So we
Yeah,
will
we will.
see. It's another edition of Bet It or Forget It. Hope you got all the picks down. Winners galore here on Three Man Front. We'll continue with your calls, your text. Really talk a little high school football on this Football Friday on Jocks. Really talk a little high school football on this Football Friday on Jocks. The UAB 5 on the UAB pregame show. Currently, Tennessee a 39-point favorite against the Blazers, as the Blazers are heading north to Knoxville, Tennessee to take on the Vols after the Vols' gut-wrenching loss last week against the Georgia Bulldogs. You need to call Golston Tree Service for any tree removal work around your home or property. 205-337-4443 is the number. They're your trusted local experts and fast, affordable, and professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. They're licensed, insured, ready to handle any job, whether it's big or small. Call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers that 24-hour emergency tree service. So when it comes to your trees, Just don't risk it. And if you do have a problem overnight or on the weekend, just call Golston Tree Service. That number again, 205-337-4443. Your calls are welcome at 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450.
Anything you want me to bring back from Neyland? I'm looking at their grass type. It's a latitude 36 Bermuda grass. So I could add that to my collection in my backyard.
I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay.
I've been up there plenty of times. I'm good. I'm covered.
All right. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Josh Smith texts into the show. Sends us a picture. He's at Social Taco. He says, Mrs. Michael from Social Taco says, hello, boys.
Hello.
Hello, Mrs. Michael. Hello, Josh. Thanks for listening. Someone texting in, I miss Wimp Sanderson this morning. What was his blue plate special? Thanks. He likes Mississippi State minus 21.
21 and a half, I think.
And a half over Northern Illinois.
Well, let's hope they don't pull a Notre Dame for old coach.
Joseph adding, butthurt hater showed his ignorance again. Someone reminding us that Stafford and Kershaw went to Highland Park High School.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the Lake high schools. I was wrong on that. I apologize.
And someone texted and said that Matthew Stafford was his catcher.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So there you go. They returned the favor. Football and baseball season.
Yeah, Mike confirms Highland Park in Dallas.
There you go. Yeah, somebody also tweeted in and said that that's where Jerry Jones' kids went to high school. AKA a lot of money there.
Chris with a K, do you think John Gruden would be a good pick as the new UCLA head coach? Yeah, I think he would be.
You could probably get him at a discount.
I don't know if John Gruden would want that.
If I'm John Gruden, I'm holding out for a better gig, personally.
John Gruden does, though, from just looks like he could absolutely coach at Florida and looks like he definitely coach at UCLA.
Well, it's because he's a coach that looks natural in a visor.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the look you need at those places.
Yep. Fat Joe, since my Crimson Tide is off this weekend, the Oklahoma Sooners just between my favorite team instead of my second favorite team this football Saturday. My prediction is that the Kittens will get spayed tomorrow.
Wow.
Go Sooners, go.
It's rough.
Posey asks, can we consider Conrad an adult if he can't change a tire?
It's a fair question. I'm a child at heart. Does that count for something?
You really are.
One of these days, I'm going to learn how to change a tire. I promise.
Josh in Huntsville with his stats, he says TJ Finley has a better record versus Georgia State than Diego Pavia.
Yeah, stat of the day.
That is your stat of the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that one. Random, but good Lord, Texas has yet another cupcake. Schedule is easy. The defense alone could carry Arch just to get blown away in the playoffs. Jason says, Conrad, your streak has been broken. Alabama won a ball game and you went to it. That was 2.
Yeah, no, we figured it out. I have to sit in the press box. If I sit in the press box, Alabama's going to win. If I'm sitting in the stands or in the same state but not in the press box, they're going to lose.
Corey says, been waiting on Better to Forget It all week. Y'all started, I got a call, and I had to miss it. They're making me work all day tomorrow, so no football for me. Y'all hiring? Well, we work on the weekends too.
Just reminds me of Office Space. I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday.
TPS reports.
That's right.
Shenanigans. Have y'all ever considered playing college or fantasy football with college players? That was big a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I know people do that. I've never done it personally. Just seems like a lot with the NFL stuff going on too. There's just so many teams, so many players. It's a lot.
And Darren from Tennessee, which Alabama quarterback benefited with all the talent Alabama has had throughout the years? I'm thinking Jake, Coker, or Tua.
I would say Tua.
Wait, in terms of having the best weapons around him? Oh, yeah, I mean, you had 4 first-round wide receivers at the same time.
One of them you were completing passes to last night.
Like 3, but yeah, not very many. But
He was good on that slant.
Yeah, he was. He scored he scored a touchdown. It was nice.
Johnny says not sure how Deshaun Foster even got the UCLA job, but he might be one of the worst D1 football coaches ever, even with the worst press conferences.
Well, hey, he knew where the team was located, and I think that was top of their priority list when they made a hire. He knew that they were in L.A.
I mean, I think statistically speaking, Deshaun Foster had a better record than Gene Chizik when Gene Chizik was hired at Auburn.
He's no Chad Morris, let's be honest.
No, that was bad.
Not
Beyond
many
bad.
people get hired toting a 5-19 around.
Yeah, that's just Deshaun Foster went 5-10. So percentage-wise, he was better than Chizik. But
Big high school slate. Kyle Parmley State as we continue the Friday edition of Three Man Front right here, Jocks.
It's 1 o'clock. Welcome back in. It's a Football Friday as we wrap up the week. Appreciate everybody tuning us in. Each and every week, we get an opportunity to talk a little high school football with Kyle Parmalee from Starnes Media. Hard to believe that we are halfway home. We've got a lot of great regional games. Most teams will be taking off region play next week. It's kind of that mid-break where teams will either take or if you're a team that plays 10 straight weeks, you go out of region one more time before the final couple games in which you get to play the rest of the season. Before you know it, the playoffs will be right around the corner as they'll be wrapping up at the end of Vestavia. Not to Vestavia, I'm sorry, but to Hillcrest and to Hewitt-Trussville.
0-2 in region play?
0-2 in region. Only one win on the season. That was against Spain Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So talk to us about Hoover. What's going on and what's wrong with that program?
Yeah, if you're a Hoover football fan, it's tough right now because this is the program that is so proud. I mean, I don't think they've missed the playoffs since 1999, and they haven't been 0-2 in region play since 97. This is not something that we've been used to seeing over the last 25 years. And they're having a hard time getting it going. I mean, obviously, when you look at their 3 losses this year, I mean, the IMG loss is what it is. Not many people are going to beat them. The Hillcrest loss was almost strictly because they got down 22-0 6 minutes into the game. And the loss last week to Hewitt-Trussville was a close game. They just couldn't make the plays that they needed to. Certainly a struggle right now. And playoffs and better team than trip down. Could see this kind of be what they are. They either put forth a big effort. You just see it. We'll see decide get back on track. Find out a lot. They're just
making the trip high school up 4-0.
I mean, Vestavia was up 21-0 before you could blink. And you're not going to win football games when you get down 3 touchdowns in the first quarter to a good team. So Hillcrest got behind the 8 ball early last week and never recovered. But I'm interested to see what Hewitt can do. Like you mentioned, Hewitt-Trussville 4-0. They have easily been the most impressive team in the state so far this year to me. Just the way that they've handled their business. You know, the first 2 games they dominated like they should, and then their first 2 region games against Vestavia and Hoover, they were just the clearly superior team from start to finish. You know, they finished the games off in the fourth quarter and did it in physical fashion. And I've just been so impressed at the way that they've done it, even with, a quarterback injury with Jack Floyd having to step in for Zach Benedict and doing a really good job. And this will be another, a road test for the Huskies against a good football team tonight. And that's not going to be easy by any stretch, but this Hillcrest team, they needed their year to kind of acclimate to 7A football, but they fit in now. And it won't be easy for Hewitt-Trussville tonight. I don't believe, but they've been really, really impressive so far, and we'll see if they can back it up because, I mean, this is 3 weeks in a row of just a really tough matchup. And the breaks in the schedule there hadn't been a break the last 3 weeks. So we'll see how fresh they are and how they get after it.
Let's stay in Region 3 and 7A here in the Metro Birmingham area. And Vestavia Hills, impressive win last week. After they lost to Hewitt, they came back, took care of business at home against Hillcrest. Now they're on the road playing Thompson. Thompson 3-1, that one loss coming to a team out of Georgia. So they're undefeated in the region. Just talk to us about this heavy matchup down in Alabaster.
Yeah, Vestavia Hills head coach Robert Evans won't admit this, but this is not a must-win game for the Rebels. I think most people looking at it in Region 3 kind of see that Thompson is the superior team. They're just so talented, and you would have to put forth your season's best effort and a little bit more if you were hoping to beat Thompson at this point of the year. I mean, Thompson's they pitched 2 shutouts to start region play. against T County and Oak Mountain. And this is a game that, you know, Vestavia Hills got beat up in that loss to Hewitt Trussville 2 weeks ago. And I still think they're trying to kind of get some bodies fresh and healthy. And having Thompson tonight, an open week next week before the second half of the season, I got to be honest, I think that's what Vestavia Hills is really looking at. Like, we need to be healthy down the stretch. Now, don't get me wrong, they're going to go out there and try to beat Thompson tonight, but some guys that would otherwise be questionable, I don't think they're going to go out there and just lay it all on the line for some of these guys that might be at risk of getting a little more banged up than they already are. So if this game was at a different point of the season, I think it might be a little bit different. But Vestavia, you know, that win last week against Hillcrest was huge for them, and they got the bye week next week. So I kind of think Thompson wins this one. But, you know, the Rebels are going to go out there. They've played Thompson really tough for 2 3/4 at a time in the past, so we'll see.
A game that could decide Class 6A Region 3, Spain Park at 2-1, traveling to Alex City down 280 to take on Ben Russell at 3-1. Ben Russell, first year, if you're keeping up, former head coach at Montgomery Catholic, who was pretty successful if you look at what they've done. How do you see this matchup?
I think tonight is when we find out if which one of these teams or both teams are legit contenders to not only win Region 3, but also be a factor in Class 6A deep into the playoffs. You mentioned Kirk Johnson has done such a good job at Ben Russell so far. I mean, they boast one of the top like QB receiver tandems in the state. King Prier and Cedarian Morgan out wide. I mean, those guys are the real deal. And Spain Park, on the other hand, they put forth their best effort of the year last year, beating Helena 38-14, and they were up 31-0 in the second quarter of that game. So Spain Park seems to have gotten a lot of things taken care of. If this game was local, I'd probably be there tonight. But at Benjamin Russell down to Alex City, it's going to be a tough trip for the Jags. It just is. It's kind of a matter of you know, Brock Bradley and Ken Arrigo have really kind of made a pretty good connection on that offense. And I think the Jags are going to have to outscore Ben Russell if they want to win this one, and it should be a lot of fun.
Homewood is 4-0 on the season. They're taking on Jackson Olin. Homewood last week, they beat 2-8. Jackson Olin beat Gardendale 36-21. Interesting matchup between these two at Waldrop Stadium.
But to be said, completely taking care of business. Has scored so far more than a touch. They are just so, you know, they'll take care of business against J.O. for a big time non-region. It's kind of game, so to speak, is going to be coming up that I'm really circling on.
It's 2-2, traveling to Oxford to take on a 2-2 Yellow Jacket squad.
Yeah, Mountain Brook, that was a tough loss. Lose to Pell City 10. Respect for Mountain Brook offense. Star running back Stuart Anderson. I don't. Sounds unlikely. Pretty tough. Kind of this year hasn't quite. Both of these, whichever one wins, not only more than likely.
In attendance tonight. Interesting game between these two programs.
Yeah, John Carroll got their first win of the year last. They got their hands. Pat Sullivan Field. Their best shot against Rand. Now, granted, they've played some really. You know, we'll been trying to be away, whether I'm excited to get my first in the last several years. Season a couple years ago. State of Alabama with the I'm glad.
But there's some other games that you have not touched on. Before you leave, let us know some of those other games that kind of highlight your list.
Yeah, I think it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme tonight, but you got the Clay Chalkwell team that has been just dominant the first few weeks. They're hosting Brandon, Mississippi tonight. That is Brandon is the hometown of Gardner Minshew, the former Mike Leach quarterback. Town of Gardner Minshew, the former Mike Leach quarterback at Mississippi State and Washington State. But we'll see what the Cougars can do because they are looking forward to a non-region matchup against Thompson next week as well. So Larwood can get their third straight win at Winona tonight. Chelsea's headed to Calera. Oak Mountain heading to Tuscaloosa County to play their old coach. Chris Bell's now at T County. So a lot of ball games tonight. I'll be keeping tabs.
Well, it should be a lot of fun. It's just crazy how the season has just zoomed by as we're at the. Well, it should be a lot of fun. It's just crazy how the season has just zoomed by as we're at the midway point already. I guess it's because it still feels like we're in the summertime. Midway point already. I guess it's because it still feels like we're in the summertime, being 90 degrees on a Friday night. So
no reprieve yet.
Yeah. Well, Kyle degrees on a Friday night. So
no reprieve yet.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, enjoy the evening of. We'll chat with you again next Friday.
Appreciate it, guys. Sounds great.
Thank you very much. That is Kyle Parmalee joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, like all of our guests do. You deserve solutions. That are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and financial, and HR services.
We continue here on the Friday edition of Three Man Front. We still have the last segment of Pat Ponders for the week. More of your phone calls and text here on Jocks.
It is 1:17. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on this Football Friday. Appreciate you tuning us in. Kyle Parmalee, Mike Rodak, Wimp Sanderson, all part of our guest list today. Appreciate everybody. If you missed any of the interviews, you can always download the Three Man Front podcast.
I had to update my app. So today, when you download the Prize Picks app, you will get the latest and the greatest from our friends at Prize Picks. What Prize Picks is, if you've never heard about it, it's the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones are not. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users just like me and sign up today. It's simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get the picks right, you could cash in. That is where we are going tonight. We usually do the 2-player stat projections, and we go more or less on those. We're going college football. We do have games tonight, but I'm going tomorrow. And tomorrow's matchup in Norman, Oklahoma. Right now, they have Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer as one of those goblin bets. That means it's easier to win, but the payout is less. 0.5 passing touchdowns. So all John Mateer of Oklahoma would have to do is throw for 1 touchdown, and that side of the projection, you would be a winner. I'm going to go more. I think that John Mateer does throw a passing touchdown, so more on that one. And then on the flip side, you've got Jackson Arnold, 0.5 passing touchdowns more or less versus Oklahoma. Conrad?
It's going to have to be more. If Auburn's going to want a chance, more. So let's go more.
I'm with you. Go more. We hit on both of those. We're a winner. You can be a winner as well. Download the app today. Use code WJOX to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WJOX. Get $50 in lineups after you play the first $5 lineup. You don't have to win to get the bonus. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Let's finish the week on a high note. Let's do some Pat Ponders brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Go by and see them this weekend. Great deals all over the place on brand new GMCs, 9 acres of inventory. You can also peruse their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com. Question number 1. Which team can least afford to lose tomorrow in Norman? Auburn or Oklahoma?
It's got to be Auburn because of, let me say this. Whoever loses tomorrow, that's not going to, plummet their season or anything. But with Texas A&M on the road next week, then you got Georgia after that. I think losing this one, it'll be tough to get out of that hole. So, yeah, I think it's for Auburn because of their next 2 games.
I think it's Auburn because their next 3 as well. I put Missouri in that too.
Fair.
Because they have Missouri right after.
That's fair, but I'm looking at Oklahoma having to go on the road plus the schedule that they play. They get Kent State in 2 weeks after this game. Then they're playing Texas. They're in Dallas, at South Carolina. I'll give them that one. Versus Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri at home, LSU at home. That's brutal. I don't see a Kentucky on that schedule. I think it's Oklahoma.
Question number 2. Auburn gashed Baylor for 307 yards on the ground, but they barely threw it against the Bears. So the question is, do the Tigers throw for more tomorrow, or do they run for more yards?
I think probably I'd go rushing yards. If Alston's healthy, Jeremiah Cobbs looks sharp. We know what Jackson Arnold can do.
How are you using Singleton maybe out of the backfield? Yeah, I'm with you.
I'll go rush.
Yep. I think it's going to be rushing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think Auburn fans would like for it to be passing yards because that would probably mean you had a pretty special day through the air.
Well,
Pick
I
your
would too
spots.
because I took the over, but.
Well, fair enough.
But if you think the strength of your team on offense is running the football and your O-line versus their D-line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you go at that all day. Yep.
Question number 3. I want you to write me the Sunday morning sports headline on AL.com.
Deja Hugh.
That's good.
That's good.
Bonus points that they lose because of a late interception. But yeah, I'll go Deja Hugh.
Mine's more of like a Gen Z joke. Okay, Boomer.
Yeah, I like that.
I know Conrad will get that.
Yeah, I
one.
like that. That's good.
Oh no. Auburn is 4-0. I don't know.
That's good.
All right, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Mine didn't rhyme.
Crimson Convict inspired me.
Yeah, that's good. Understandable.
Question number 4. Of the SEC favorites tomorrow, according to Las Vegas, who is most likely to get knocked off?
SEC favorites.
I guess Oklahoma. I think that'll be the closest game out of all of those.
Yeah.
Tempting to take Vandy to lose to Georgia State 2 years in a row, but I think I'm gonna stay away from that one. So yeah, I'll go Sooners.
That would be a good one.
I mean, I guess Oklahoma is the lowest line, so probably OU.
Yeah, I would say that Arkansas. That's a tricky trip to Memphis. Arkansas, 7.5-point favorite.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Question number 5. In a recent poll in Orlando, they asked the following question. If Billy Napier is let go by the end of the season, who should Gator fans realistically hope to land as their next head coach? At 45%, it was Lane Kiffin. Alex Golesh was second with 31%. John Gruden was 15%, and Dabo was 9%. Now, for you, who would be the most realistic choice? It doesn't have to be those 4 I just mentioned.
Okay.
It would be anyone. But based on that poll question, who's the most realistic in your opinion?
I don't think any of those guys from that list end up getting that job or taking that job. I'll go the group of 5 coach whose name's right there at the top. You're going to see against Ole Miss, John Summerall.
And I think that would be a great hire. I'm still going to go with Lane Kiffin because I could see Florida trying to go and make the splashy hire, and John Summerall is a fantastic coach, but I could see Florida going, well, that's not a big enough name for us, so we've got to go get somebody like Lane Kiffin. And I think that would be a dumb decision, but I'm going to go with Lane Kiffin.
I don't know why Lane Kiffin would take that job.
Yeah. I would
Ego.
I'd probably go Summerall or Golesh. Group of 5.
Okay. I'll give you a bonus question. This is from BB. And obviously she's writing this from a man's perspective. So kind of apply this. When you hear it, Molly, apply it to.
Okay.
Pretend you're a guy.
You're out enjoying a swanky dinner, and your girlfriend wife excuses herself to use the restroom. Upon returning, she chooses to circulate the room to visit with other friends, all the while not realizing her skirt dress is partially caught in her underwear. Do you immediately run to her aid and correct the situation, which obviously draws even more attention? And then she is so mortified that she wants to leave immediately, but you are laughing it off and fireworks ensue between you. Now what do you do?
Well, if I know that that's the outcome, no, I still do it. No. My wife would be mortified if she knew that was happening.
Yeah.
And she would trade the being even more mortified with people seeing me correct it than her just walking around with her underwear caught in her, what was it? Whatever. Yeah.
Her skirt dress is partially caught in her underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is different, but I've had a similar situation with food in the teeth with my wife where I didn't really notice that she had some food in her teeth, and she walked around and apparently was talking to people, and she said, "You never told me," and she got really upset that I didn't,
She should.
Exactly, and that's on me because I should have noticed that and told her. So, yeah, I like you got to bite the bullet, go up there and fix it because that outcome is still better than, oh, yeah, did you know you were walking around for 3 hours tonight with your dress up? Yeah, no.
Well, you're the only one that should see your wife's underwear anyways.
Correct.
I'll just say, as a female, I'm mad if my husband or boyfriend didn't correct it when we were out, especially if he knows. I'd be very upset.
All right, that's today in this week's Pat Ponders GMC in Trussville. Get by and see them this weekend, Route 59, exit 32.
You ever had toilet paper stuck to you walking out of the bathroom, like on your shoe, possibly if it's a public restroom coming out of your pants?
I've had it on the shoe before, never
Yeah.
the other one.
It's always a little finicky as well. All right, we continue 3-man front on Jocks.
It is 1:31 on this Football Friday. Welcome back in. This is Jocks. This is 3-Man Front. Every week at this time, Kevin Todd joins us from VegasMistake.com. Last week on this program, he told our audience that Tennessee tells about a game we're going to talk about, but also, Kevin, the fact that once again, you always bring these incredible deals and offers to our listeners of Jocks 94.5, and it just continues on this weekend with another special deal for our Jocks listeners.
That's correct. I got a big promotion this week, folks, at my 10 best plays this weekend for $99, which I'm sure everyone can afford, because I'm sure if you spent $99 before, you've probably spent it on stuff that you've wasted money on. And I'm telling you right now, you will not waste money on my 10 best plays for $99. The last 2 weeks, the Vegas Mistake underdog play won. We had Ohio plus the 4 versus West Virginia. They won the game outright. Seattle plus the 3 against Pittsburgh in the NFL last week. They won the game outright. I have another dog this week that Vegas made a huge mistake on, and I'm adding it into this 10-game package. All you need to do is go over to VegasMistake.com or give me a call at 866-441-2711. That's 866-441-2711 for my 10 best plays this weekend for $99.
One thing's for sure, if you've never gone to VegasMistake.com, Vegas Mistake finds the games that the odd makers have wrong. And every week, Kevin Todd comes on this program, and he'll talk about a game. And then, of course, just a wonderful deal for our Jocks listeners. Once again, 10 of their best plays this weekend for $99, which everyone can afford, and you're going to be a winner. So call them at 1-866-44.com. All right, this week, Kevin, what do you have for us, the game that you would like to talk about?
Well, let's look at this West Virginia at Kansas game. The line opened up at, I believe, 11.5. It's now up to 13. Now, if you had watched the games last week, folks, West Virginia played their arch rival Pittsburgh. They were down by double digits with 5 minutes to go, tied the game up, and won it in overtime, and everybody stormed the field. Last week, Kansas, on the other hand, they had a bye week. They've had over 10 days to prepare for this game. But let me tell you something. In this matchup, believe it or not, West Virginia has won 8 out of the last 9 games. and the visitor has covered 8 out of the last 10 against the spread. That means nothing. This is a different Kansas team. They got a great offense running there with Daniels, and I'm telling you right now, folks, they can run. They have ball control. They can throw the ball. I understand West Virginia has kind of a stingy run defense, but their secondary, if you saw last week, Pittsburgh was able to throw all over them. I think the same thing is going to happen here for Kansas. They will run the ball, which is going to open up the pass. And West Virginia won 8 out of the last 9, but I'm going to lay the 13 here with Kansas. I think they could win this game by at least 2 touchdowns or more. But more important, go .com right now. You get my 10 best plays for the weekend for $99. For the last 2 weeks, my Vegas mistake won. Ohio plus the 4 outright. Steelers. I'm telling you, folks, I got 10 games for $99. I absolutely love the card this week. Go to Vegas. 441-2711. That's 866-441-2711.
Oh, it's a great time and a lot of winners, as you've heard right here on Jocks. As last week, he told our listeners that Tennessee would cover the spread against Georgia. Gave us another great one this week. That number, vegasmistake.com, 866-441-2711. Don't forget about this wonderful special, $99, first-time clients for our listeners at Jocks. Kevin, always appreciate it, and we'll catch up next week.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. That is Kevin Todd, vegasmistake.com, 866-441-2711. On this Football Friday, we've still got some time to take your calls at 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line at 205-834-9450. Tonight at 6:30, you've got Tulsa and Oklahoma State. Right now, Oklahoma State around 11.5-point favorite. They're 1-1 on the season against the Golden Hurricane. They're 1-2. Then at 7 o'clock tonight, the first Big Ten game for Iowa and Rutgers. As Iowa is 2-1 on the season, Rutgers is undefeated. So this one should be a very interesting game. That game can be seen on Fox. And we all know that tomorrow morning we've got UAB at Tennessee. That is an 11:45 kickoff. 10:45 is the pregame show right here on Jocks. And then you've got Auburn and Oklahoma at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. That will be the big SEC game of the day that many people will be paying very close attention to, because that will help parlay either one of those schools into the next couple weeks into a serious college football playoff contention. But you mentioned earlier, Langell, I mean, when you look at both of these teams, especially Oklahoma's schedule, man, that is just, you better win at home. You need to hold serve at home. And if you lose, and it's nothing wrong about losing to Auburn. Auburn's a good football team. But if you do not take advantage of winning those type of games at home, based on what you have coming up later in the season, if you're Oklahoma, that's trouble.
Yeah, because you have the air quotes neutral site game with Texas, but traveling to South Carolina, who's to say that that's not the one game, and we don't know what's going to happen this weekend with South Carolina, but we get the Lenore Sellers that we thought we were going to get. We get a hostile crowd there at Williams-Brice. Then Ole Miss, what do they look like at that point? Going on the road to Tennessee, don't really love that matchup. And then, of course, Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Yeah, you're right. You only get so many at home. You better make them count. And I think that's what Brent Venables, when you look at the rest of that schedule. And given their injury history, who knows what Oklahoma looks like at the end of the year?
No question. All right, let's go back to the phones. Don wants to get a call in before we head off for the weekend. Hey, Don.
Hello, guys. Happy Football Friday to you. And I'm getting a little bit fired up for tomorrow, Pat. I actually think we got a chance. And on the show this morning, I think, and Conrad will tell you, everybody picked Oklahoma except for me and the young man Bennett and a couple other people. But I actually think Auburn could win this game, especially with everybody hurt for Oklahoma.
Yeah, it just depends on how hurt they are. You've already got their starting center out. You've got a defender that's going to have to miss first half because of a targeting call, and then some other guys that are questionable. Some are doubtful. Who knows what that looks like? But it looks like a lot of different guys. I think for Auburn, they got to control the line of scrimmage, both lines of scrimmage. Defensive line is going to have to play lights out, and you can't have breakdowns in the secondary like you had against Baylor. You can't have them like you had last week at times versus South Alabama. They're going to have to play their best effort just to be in that ball game late in the fourth quarter, but I think that they can do it.
I agree. And on my prediction this morning, I said 31-28 Auburn. I think we're going to turn Mateer over a couple of times with interceptions, and I think he's going to throw an interception late in the game that's going to give us a short field, and I think that's how we're going to win the game. That's my prediction. But guys, and Molly, I know you're going to be hating on Iowa tonight. Go Rutgers, go Scarlet Knights on that game, and you guys have a great call for your. Pat, you and Molly headed down to Hillcrest, right?
Yep, that's where they're headed. They sure are.
Well, I'm getting ready to head down to Alabaster later today to go see Thompson and Vestavia and hopefully run into Kelly Kitchens. He's got a big old boy playing offensive lineman, Landrum for Vestavia.
Does Auburn have you on the recruiting trail, Don?
You know what, Conrad, I'm gonna be on the sideline with the Thompson football team. And I might just have to meet Trent Seaborn and talk to him. I got my Auburn gear on. If I'm allowed to say hello, I might just do it.
Well, Don, have a great weekend. Be safe, and can't wait to talk to you on Monday.
Weekend also.
You as well. We'll keep the phone lines open. You still have time to chime in. 800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 line as we continue on a beautiful Friday. .143 three-man front here on a Friday at high school football. Starnes Media joining us the beginning of the hour. And plenty of college football. Bama off. We'll have plenty to talk about with Al next week, all week long. We're going to get the press conference of one Kalen DeBoer coming up on Monday, as well as Hugh Freeze as the Tigers take on Norman. 800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the text line. Let's go to the phones first. Dave is in Hoover. Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. Well, Don, I got your back, buddy. I'll be pulling for Auburn tomorrow, but 31 points, let me tell you something. Auburn scores 31 points against that defense on the road, they'll win the national championship. I don't see it happening. But, look, I think Oklahoma is going to put a spy in the middle. That line is going to maintain gap, discipline. They're not going to allow the Red Sea to park yards. They're going to keep him in the pocket, make him throw the ball downfield. And on the other side, easily. I see it 31, but I see 31 Oklahoma and 3-7 for Auburn. As much as I hate it.
Wow, you're seeing a blowout.
Well, they got a lot of injuries, but on offense. But Mateer, I could see him eating up that secondary. All he needs is a minute.
Maybe so. You might be right.
We'll see. That's why he played the game, right?
That's right. Dave, thank you for
Hope
the phone
I'm
call.
wrong.
We appreciate
it, guys. Take
All
care.
right.
Yeah.
Is there an outcome tomorrow? Because I think we all agree, right? It's a kind of a splitting hairs kind of game going into it. What outcome tomorrow would shock you the most? If Oklahoma just blew the brakes off of Auburn, or if Auburn did that to Oklahoma? What would
both? If I can choose both.
Say either, yeah.
The outcome that Dave said that he sees, that would shock me. But I don't see Auburn running away with a game either.
I was about to say, I think if it were to be a blowout, it would lean more in Oklahoma's favor in that direction.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Everything going wrong on the road, and then all of a sudden that crowd gets into it. Jackson Arnold starts having flashbacks, nightmares, starts hearing the jeers from the crowd. No, I could see that.
Yeah, and I get where Dave's coming from to a certain degree. I just feel like, even if Jackson Arnold's not particularly comfortable throwing the football, they are such a good running team right now. I find it hard to believe they're not going to be able to put up some points just running it down Oklahoma's throat, at least for a little bit.
This is going to be the test of Jackson Arnold in the deep ball and connecting on the deep ball.
Got to be able to do that.
You're going to have to do that, because if they do put an extra guy in the box, or you have a spy there in the middle and you get some of the one-on-one matchups, you got to exploit them. You have to. You have Cam Coleman there on the outside. You're going to have Malcolm Simmons available. We know that Singleton's there. Maybe Horatio Fields plays a big role in this one. But Auburn's going to have to be able to throw the football.
It just feels like your opportunity to remind everyone, and not to say that, they're all great players, but you just haven't seen, what looks like multi-million-dollar receivers from Auburn this year, because they just haven't had to have that. I think you're going to have that tomorrow. And I think tomorrow maybe is the day where you start to go, okay, that's why they paid Singleton 7 figures and Cam Coleman 7 figures, because this is what this Auburn offense can look like.
Because it looks like in the Baylor's game, what Baylor was doing defensively kind of dictated it with Arnold, running. And why would you not, if you're getting 10, 11 yards
Absolutely.
a clip, if you're handing it off, all of that. But Auburn really has not. They had to go out of their way to do it against Ball State to try to really make a point to throw the football. But this will be the first time that I think you see the full
offense. Everything at their disposal.
Yeah. They're going to have it. And the
I
defense will have to play their best game.
I agree.
Tackling, man. Tackling. Not going to bring him down with an arm. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. CJ says, Boomer Sooner. I'm a Bama fan, and if Auburn went 0-12, I would wish they played 13 games so they would have a chance to lose again. That is some dislike. Josh says that Auburn will be lucky to score 10. Okay, maybe so. I don't know if I can read that one. You're saying one, right?
The Ninja Turtle one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to be received. I feel like it would be received well, but
I guess I could maybe kind of see it a little. I don't know. Maybe.
Tate says, my Brett, I don't know how to spell his last name, Norsworthy. I ain't scared pick is Florida over Miami straight up. Takes likes the Gators. We do not.
That would be a shock, wouldn't it?
Smokey has a suggestion. Dan Mullen to UCLA. Coach Nico.
You just beat UCLA 2 weeks ago, UNLV.
His name was rumored for that job, I think the last time.
When Foster got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Dan Mullen can save Nico. He's got a pretty good track record with QBs, but I don't know about that one.
Tom says Bama fan taking Auburn 21-14. Okay. We're being reminded that Auburn threw for 330 last year.
They did. They also threw for 330 yards and still lost that game.
They did. One of Peyton Thorne's completions was through an Oklahoma player the other way.
Yes, it was.
Like a 7-yard pass right into his hands.
When you could have just ran the football and ran the clock out.
Love the show, guys. Makes my work day much better. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And then Uncle Jerry from Hayden says, Boomer Sooner, if the Barners were playing North Korea, I would root for the North Korea. RTR, the number 4, life, football emoji.
Well, let's hope they don't ever play because we don't need to be rooting for North Korea for that.
Something tells me their citizens will never get the final score of this game.
Football, what's that?
They're playing that now?
Wait, y'all get to go outside?
Appreciate all the texts, all the interaction every single day here on the show. We see good, we see bad. Conrad has seen something bad. He's going to alert us to it. This is the worst thing that Conrad has seen.
This is the worst thing I've seen.
Been in quarantine and I need to get out and party. Woo! What's better than beach and a few drinks and Jeeps? Man, getting better than that. Law enforcement's definitely made their visitability and made people chill out and not be as crazy. The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
Well, I hate to send everybody into the weekend on a rocky note, but we're going to have to do it anyways. So we're going to go across the pond to Scotland, where they are the home of the World Stone Skimming Championships.
Skimming?
It's skipping rocks. Like you would go to the lake and find a round rock and try to see how many times you could skip it over the water.
Yeah.
They have a competition for that apparently.
Okay.
So that is held over on a small island of Easdale off the western coast of Scotland. And they recently held the most recent edition of the Stone Skimming Championships, where more than 2,200 people from 27 different countries were in attendance there in Scotland. So according to the rules of the Stone Skimming Championships, the stones must come from naturally occurring island slate. However, it turned out that some of the contestants had ground their rocks into a smoother, rounder shape, trying to get a leg up on the competition.
Oh, no.
So, according to organizer Dr. Kyle Matthews, he told the BBC News that the offenders allegedly, or I guess according to him at the scene, they held their hands up and apologized for cheating in the Stone Skimming Championships. So the entrants are allowed to choose their own stones to compete in, and the judges have a measuring device called the Ring of Truth. How about that? The Ring of Truth. And that is how they ensure that the rocks are no larger than 3 inches in diameter. So each competitor is allowed 3 skims, and the stones have to bounce at least twice in the water before sinking to count as an official result. So unfortunately, you had a handful of contestants that had taken the stones and ground them, again, to make them rounder so that they would be, I guess, more aerodynamic. And according to him, he says this was a little bit of stone doctoring from, I know, that's just awful, isn't it? But apparently the judges had heard rumors and murmurs of nefarious deeds at the Stone Skipping Championships, which caused them to reinvestigate some of the rocks. It says that some of the contestants had shaped their rock so it was perfectly circular and fit just within the 3-inch measurement. It's a piece of metal, so there's a little bit of leeway, and unfortunately, they weren't able to catch it before the competition. But thankfully, they were able to figure it out. And the winner of this year's competition was Jonathan Jennings, an American, the first American to ever win the Stone Skimming Championships in Scotland, because his stones skimmed a cumulative distance of 177 meters.
Dang.
So that's pretty cool. Good job for the American going over there and winning the stone skipping competition.
Skimming.
Even skimming.
It's
I
different.
apologize. Stone skimming championship amidst nefarious deeds by other
Skimming
contestants.
is the distance, skipping is the bounces.
Thank you, Molly.
With skimming, we associate it with negative here, like skimming off the top.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. And the good news is that the championships, they raise money for local community projects and charities, and they raised over £15,000.
Sweet.
What's the conversion?
That's probably what, like 20,000 US dollars? Something like that?
Probably.
I would like to go and witness that as a spectator in the cheese rolling.
$20,200.
Good job.
Just call me Mr. Conversion Rate.
And do you like that better than Little Lug Nut?
I don't know. Actually, I've come to like Little Lug Nut. It's endearing.
It is.
It'll be even more endearing once I learn how to change a tire, but we'll wait until after football season.
No,
to
that'll
tackle
ruin
that
it.
beast.
No, don't do it.
Sorry, Paige. I
Still
never
can't
gonna
do